my name is Blue Warlord, and in this movie I will explain how to use Morgdkp2 together with EQdkp Classic. Before watching this movie, please make sure you have watched the Morgdkp2 introduction tutorial so you have an understanding of how EQdkp relates to Morgdkp2. This movie consists of two parts. The first part will show how you as a master looter can import and export DKP standings from an EQdkp installation to Morgdkp, and from Morgdkp back to EQdkp update your standings. The second part of this movie will cover how you actually install the plugin for EQdkp from Morgdkp2 so you can do the import and export. When using Morgdkp2 in combination with EQdkp, the first thing you want to do is export the DKP information of the website to the WoW add-on, so that once you have done your raid you can import it back to the website. This way you can always change who is the master looter for your raid, especially in 25 mans or 10 mans where you cannot always count on a master looter to be present and you need to change that role. It's very handy to have a site that any of your potential master looters can log into and get the latest DKP information, and also for your members to check up if you have administrated correctly. You should have been given a username and password for your DKP website. It might look a little bit like this, and you log in with it, and then you should go to the administration panel. If you don't see the administration panel, please ask your webmaster who set up this site to create one for you. If you still have to do the setup, keep on watching this movie and I'll explain later how to do it. So click on administration panel and you should see somewhere on the left here something called Morgdkp2. Click on the button called export standings and you would get a screen like this. Select your time zone, ignore ranks. Then in the first row you need to select the name of your site, and that is this part of your string. So just before the plugins, whatever you have there, fill it in here, and then a name you would use in game to identify which pool you have. And the reason you need to fill in this one is that you can have multiple DKP pools. In other words, different EQdkp websites that are running in parallel, and you might want to be able to access them in game, and this is the way to kind of configure them. Once you've done that, click on export EQP data and you would see data like this. Probably it will be empty the first time you do it, but here we already have some data. And then you scroll down and you right click on this link and you save it into your World of Warcraft interface add-ons Morgdkp2 folder. If there's already a DKP info folder, you just replace it. Next, go into WoW, activate Morgdkp2 and select as main DKP pool the pool that you just made. And if you do that, you will see a message like this, adding DKP points at 32 players from tier 50. And if you want to verify if this has really happened, shift left click on the Morgdkp2 button to see the ranking of the DKP that you have now in game. And this way you can verify if you have indeed imported the DKP correctly. To import data into the EQdkp website from Morgdkp2, you need to export from Morgdkp2 in-game and import it into the EQdkp website. To do this, you first go to Morgdkp2 and you click on export rate. You see that here the DKP string is being selected, and you press Ctrl C. So it is on your clipboard. Next thing you do is you go to the EQD website and you click on login. Fill in your username and password, and you go to the administration panel. In the administration panel on the Morgdkp2, you click on import rates, and you paste the string that you just made and click on parts Morgdkp2. And now what you will see is that it has identified which database it should go. Was at the start of your raid, your run, the items that dropped during the run and how much DKP it cost, etc. You see that we had a lot of cheap items here. And you can also make still modifications here. So if you want to charge 100 DKP, you can still do that. And then next you press enter final data to complete the import of the data into the database. And what you will see is, because this is the first time you import, it didn't know all your raid members yet, so it's adding them already. It creates all the events that is needed, and that's the items to your database. And to go back, you click on return EQdadmin on top. Now that you've done the import, you can watch the standings. And if you look at the standings, you see that most of your members are there, but you also see that there are some things missing. And the best way to resolve that is by creating aliases for the names, because EQdkp can't handle non-Latin, standard Latin characters. So the best way to do is make, for example, if there's this warrior that is called Rain with this very strange eye. The best way to do it is kind of look him up and change the information. The way to do it is just directly edit the database table. Go to the database, and in the EQdkp members you see all the users that have been created. And you see that they are perfectly encoded here, but there are problems on the website to actually display them. I just added them. For example, this should be Rain, and it should be fine again. And next time when you have a raid, you need to make an alias for that person, so you don't run into issues anymore. As you can see, we have quite a bit of them. And now if you go back to the standing page and you refresh it, you see the names appear again in the correct form. Now that you've seen how to use the import and export functionality of EQdkp and the Morgdkp2 plugin, I will show how you actually install the plugin and EQdkp. The first step is to install EQdkp, followed by an installation of the Morgdkp2 EQdkp plugin. Currently, EQdkp Plus, which is another version of EQdkp, is only supported on version 0.6, and we are working on a new and more up-to-date EQdkp Plus version. This video will only cover EQdkp Classic. So let's start. The first thing you do is you download EQdkp, and you do that by going to eqdkp.com and clicking on the download link, and you will see something like this, and then you want to download the stable version. Let's open it. You will see something like this. This is the actual EQdkp folder, and this is a folder that you need to deploy on your web server. And the way to do it is, and the easiest way of doing it is extract the files to a temporary folder, for example like this, and then use a file transfer tool to transfer the files to your server. Now then you select the folder and you want to transfer the contents of it, so you go into the folder, you select all the stuff, and we transfer all the files to it. EQdkp. The best thing to do is to download the latest development version because of some security reasons. So download them, open it, extract all the files, for example to your documents folder, and there they are. The next thing you want to do is upload the files that are in the upload directory. And the way to do that is, for example, make use of a program called Valzilla, which is a web transfer thing. So here I am connected already to my server. I have a folder called EQdkp on it, and what I now need to do is upload the patched version. So you open it in your Valzilla, once you have downloaded it, go to upload, select the files, upload them, and overwrite the existing ones, which should be done by now. And then you should be able to go to the installation page. You click on install. And it will check the requirements. And what you will see is that certain files need to be writable. So we'll do that by using putty. So let's do that now. So here I have a putty session, and I need to make sure that the templates get templates cache folder is readable and accessible for everybody, and I need to make sure that the config.php file is readable and writable for everybody. In this way, these commands should do the trick. And now it's happy. We can start the install. Next thing you need to do is create a MySQL user and database that EQdkp can use. And it looks a little bit like this. So in my case I would create a new database. Next thing you need to do is add a user. Go to privilege, click on add a new user, type in a username, for example EQdkp, make sure that the host is local. Create a password. Okay, make sure also give the ground. And now you created a EQdkp at local host user, which you should be able to use during the install. So it's a local host. And you type in here the name of the database user we just created. Or the database. And the user. And the password. And then we click on test connection, then that's happy, and we can proceed to the next step. Next, this is really important, you have to create a administrator account, and don't forget this, because you will need it later on to do stuff. So, the name, If you get an error like this, it means it is due to the fact that you probably have a newer version of MySQL than EQdkp expects, and they changed the syntax for the database structure. To fix it, you do the following. You go back to EQdkp, to Valzilla, and you browse to the install directory. Go to schemas, and you edit the file mysql_structure.sql. You edit that using your local editor, and you would see something like this. And the thing where it goes wrong is you would see a file like this. And the thing where it goes wrong is on statements like this. So what we want to do is replace that with another string. So we want to make it engine is InnoDB. So you replace all the occurrences, it should be 23. You save that, close your editor. It asks whether you want to re-upload the file. Yes, you want to do that. And once you have done that, you should be able to go back in your browser and proceed to the next step for the installation. You do that, it manages to create the database and it will populate it with initial data. You do proceed to the next step and the installation is completed. Next, you click on log on to the administration panel to see if it works as you expected, using the username password combination that you defined earlier on. When you log in, you will see a message like this. So we need to remove the install folder. So you go back to FileZilla, click on the install folder, press delete. Are you sure? Yes. It's removed, and you can refresh the page. And you would see something like this. And here you can do all your configuration of EQdkp. The next thing you want to do is install the Morgdkp2 plugin for EQdkp. And the way to do that is as follows. The way you install the Morgdkp2 add-on for EQdkp is by you go to World of Warcraft interface add-ons Morgdkp2, and in the Morgdkp2 add-on directory you would see a directory called plugins. Go to plugins and you would see there a folder Morgdkp2. This folder is important because this is the folder you need to upload to your EQdkp installation. So let's do that now. And you upload it to the plugins directory. Now, if you reload the EQdkp page, you would see the plugin being added. Next, once you have done this, you need to enable the plugin in EQdkp. And the way to do that is to go to Manage Plugins. And here you will see the plugin Morgdkp2, and you would click on Install. And it would say, hey, I've installed it successfully. Now, if you reload the page, you would notice that there is a next new item here called Morgdkp2, where you have export standings and import rates. And these are the actions that you use to import and export, as explained earlier on. once you have installed EQdkp, is that at the bottom of the page you constantly see this query window. This is because by default the development version has the debug information, aka the SQL information, available. If you want to get rid of this, the way to do it is edit the common.php file, which you can find in the EQdkp home folder. So let's go there. You would edit that file, and on line 46 you would find debug set to 2. Make that 0, save it, close your editor, and it will ask whether you want to upload the file. You want to do that, and if you reload you would see that the query information is gone. Of course you can also modify EQdkp to look at the way you want to have it. For example, by changing the templates, as I've done here in my gaming community one. For example, we changed the menu items on the top, added some new ones, and if you click on a player you would see additional details. For example, on top there is a graph which shows you how much DKP has earned and lost due to decay. This is also added to the site, and if you scroll down for each item, there are actually item links linking to Wowhead with the stat information, so you know what item you're talking about.